Part 1 begins with the time before most people in the galaxy even knew what humans were. There were thousands of advanced species already exploring space, some peaceful, some proud, some nervous about anything new. They had all grown used to each other. Everyone had a place. Everyone had rules. Everyone had predictable limits. But then came a small blue planet far out on the edge, carrying a species nobody took seriously at first. Humans arrived later than most. Their ships were not the fastest, and their technology was not the cleanest. The Galactic Union saw the first human vessel and expected yet another new species that would take a very long time to learn the basics. They thought humans would need training, guidance, and supervision. The galaxy had seen many newcomers like that. They didn't expect anything special, but from the beginning, humans behaved in ways no one could predict. When the first human crew docked at a Union station, the observers were surprised. The humans stepped out tired, relaxed, and strangely confident, like they had just finished a long road trip instead of traveling through deep space. Most species moved carefully in a new environment. Humans walked like they owned the place, smiling at everyone, asking questions, adjusting to the new gravity, as if their bodies didn't care about changes. The Galactic Union had sent their own officials to greet the newcomers. They had prepared a long list of instructions about safety rules, emergency procedures, and how to handle unfamiliar systems. They expected the humans to be confused or overwhelmed. Instead, the humans listened politely, nodded a few times, and within a few minutes, they were moving around the station like they had lived there for months. One alien officer whispered to another that humans learned too fast. The officer beside him replied that maybe humans were just pretending to understand. But minutes later, they watched a human operate a gravity stabilizer that normally took months of training to handle. And the human did it casually, with one hand, while talking to his crewmates about what they wanted for lunch. That was the first moment the aliens realized something strange. These humans adapted at a speed that didn't make sense. A senior observer wrote in his notes that the humans seemed almost too calm. Other species entering a large station for the first time looked nervous or amazed. Humans looked curious, but not surprised. They observed everything like they'd already faced something similar before. And in a way, they had, because Earth itself was unpredictable, wild, and full of small challenges that shaped them without them even knowing. The galaxy had no idea about that part yet. The real surprise came a few weeks later, when the Galactic Union announced a joint training program for all new species. It was a simple project meant to test basic teamwork skills. Nothing dangerous, nothing risky. Just a way to understand how a new species handled stress, communication, and cooperation. Union expected the humans to struggle, like most newcomers did. They placed them in teams with other species who already knew how things worked. The idea was that the experienced members would guide the humans. But that plan fell apart almost immediately. During the very first exercise, an unexpected oxygen leak occurred in one of the test chambers. It wasn't harmful and was part of the simulation, but it was meant to make the new species react under pressure. Most participants panicked or froze. They waited for instructions. They looked around for someone to tell them what to do. The humans just moved. While others hesitated, the humans stepped forward, checked the panel, figured out where the issue was, simulated, and patched it in less than a minute. They didn't wait for orders. They didn't panic. They didn't complain. They simply solved the problem and asked what the next part of the exercise was. The instructors were stunned. The test was supposed to take at least 10 minutes. The humans finished it faster than some experienced teams. One alien supervisor wrote in his report that the humans acted like they had already lived through similar situations many times. And the humans had. On Earth, equipment failed often, Storms damaged structures, and people learned to fix problems quickly before things got worse. It wasn't special to them, it was normal life. Word spread quietly among the instructors. They asked each other, are these their elite members? Are these their best trained? They assumed the humans must have sent their highly skilled people for first contact. Maybe these were professionals selected carefully. The humans laughed when someone asked them about it. They said no, they were just regular crew members doing their jobs. The galaxy didn't fully believe that at first. They thought humans were acting humble. But the more they interacted with them, the clearer it became. These humans really were regular, and that worried some species. A group of galactic scientists decided to study humans closely. They followed human teams during daily tasks, repairs, inspections, simulations, basic maintenance. They discovered that humans had patterns very different from most species. When something went wrong, humans didn't panic. They didn't freeze. They started trying things. They experimented. They brainstormed out loud. They treated mistakes as part of the process instead of failures. One scientist recorded in his log that humans seemed almost excited when they faced a challenge. They joked, they encouraged each other, and they stayed calm. And their calmness was contagious. Other species working with them felt less fear and more confidence. The scientist wrote, humans reduce stress by talking to each other. They share the burden. Another wrote, they treat danger like a puzzle instead of a threat. The galaxy wasn't used to that dot, but the biggest moment came when the Union invited humans to join a multi-species rescue simulation. It was a controlled scenario, involving a damaged transport vessel in a mock emergency. The idea was to test teamwork under pressure. The organizers carefully designed the situation to be challenging but safe. The simulation began with flashing lights, malfunction warnings, and time pressure. Some species looked uncomfortable. Others moved slowly, following every protocol step by step. A few just watched the instructors for guidance. The humans immediately took charge, not by giving orders, but by helping wherever they saw something that needed doing. They guided people who were confused, showed them easier ways to handle equipment, and kept everyone talking so no one froze from stress. They didn't mean to lead. They just naturally filled the empty spaces where confidence was missing. By the end of the simulation, the instructors had no idea whether the exercise had tested the humans or if the humans had ended up training everyone else. Logs from that day recorded one repeated comment from multiple species. Humans work like they have been doing this forever. Of course, they hadn't been doing space rescues forever. But humans were used to reacting fast, adapting fast, and helping each other without being told. On Earth, emergencies never asked for permission before happening. After that simulation, the whispers in the Galactic Union changed. They weren't about confusion anymore. They were about curiosity. One species said, if these are their regular crew members, imagine the kind of people they call special forces. Another said, do all humans act like this? And someone else replied, they say yes. That answer made everyone pause. Because if humans were telling the truth, and they usually did, then the galaxy had been wrong from the beginning. They hadn't met the best humans. They hadn't met elite professionals. They hadn't met some carefully chosen diplomatic team. They had met ordinary people, regular workers, everyday humans. This realization slowly settled across the Union. Like a quiet storm, no one expected. The galaxy wasn't afraid of humans. They didn't think humans were dangerous. But they were confusing, impressive, hard to predict. And there was something powerful about that unpredictability. Something that made every species take a second look whenever humans were involved in a mission. Over time, the first human teams noticed the extra attention. They didn't know why aliens stared at them during simple repairs or whispered whenever They lifted heavy equipment with surprising ease. Humans thought everyone worked that way. They didn't realize that most species avoided danger and chaos whenever possible. Humans walked straight into chaos like it was a normal Monday morning. One day, a senior alien advisor said quietly to his colleague, "The galaxy has grown too comfortable. These humans, they do not fear the unknown the same way we do. That makes them different." A colleague replied, "Different in a good way?" The advisor took a long breath and said, "I hope so." That was the beginning of a new reputation, forming across the galaxy. A reputation humans didn't even know they had. The galaxy called them adaptable, tough, unexpectedly calm. And slowly, a question formed in the mind of every species watching them. If these humans were just regular, what would the special ones be like? Part 1 ends with that question hanging over the galaxy, waiting for an answer no one was sure they wanted to hear. Part 2 begins a few months after the humans had officially joined the Galactic Union's shared missions. By this time, most species had grown used to seeing humans around the stations. They knew humans walked fast, talked fast, laughed loud, and somehow survived through situations other species would have avoided. But still, no one understood how unusual humans really were. They only knew something felt different when humans were around. One normal cycle, the Union received a message from a mining vessel that operated near an unstable asteroid Phi. This vessel belonged to a peaceful species that lived in quiet underground cities on their home planet. They were skilled miners, very patient, very gentle, and very cautious. But even cautious people make mistakes sometimes. The message was short and shaky. Their engine core had malfunctioned, and the asteroid field around them was active and unpredictable. The ship was not designed for rough conditions. They couldn't navigate out. They were stuck, drifting slowly toward danger. Hoping someone would help them before the situation became too serious, the Union immediately called a meeting. Representatives from many species gathered around a round glass table where holograms showed the damaged ship, the debris around it, and the timeline of risk. Everyone agreed that something had to be done quickly. But when the Union sent 2 rescue teams to help, both missions failed. Not because of incompetence or anything dramatic, but simply because the conditions were too unstable. Radiation spikes, fast-moving rocks, unpredictable gravitational pulls. It was a dangerous combination. The Council argued about what to do next. Some said they needed more time to prepare. Some said they should build a better plan. Some argued that it was too risky for anyone else to try until the asteroid field calmed down. They promised to think it over and make a decision the next day. While they argued, a human ship docked at the station. It was nothing special, just a medium-sized ship carrying engineers and technicians on their way to another assignment. They heard about the emergency while passing through the briefing hall. When the humans asked what the problem was, an alien official explained the situation and said that the Union was still deciding what to do. The humans looked at each other for only a moment. Then one of them simply said, "We'll handle it." No dramatic music, no long speech, no hesitation. Just that simple sentence. The alien official stared at them, confused. "You? But this is a dangerous zone." Even trained rescue teams failed. The humans gave a small shrug, the relaxed kind that made other species nervous. "We've dealt with worse." Of course, they were talking about things like storms back on Earth, broken machinery during harsh winters, ships malfunctioning in deep oceans, things that felt normal to humans but sounded terrifying to aliens. And just like that, without waiting for permission or long discussions, the humans prepared their ship. They ran quick checks, strapped on basic gear, and moved out as if the mission was just another part of their day. The rest of the station watched them leave, wondering if humans truly understood the danger, or if they were simply wired differently. The journey to the mining vessel was not easy. The asteroid field moved like a storm frozen in space, with pieces of rock shooting in random directions. Most species had a natural instinct to stay far away from such places. But humans looked at the moving debris like it was a puzzle they needed to solve. Inside the human ship, one of the technicians kept adjusting the stabilizers. Another monitored the radiation levels, and someone else calculated the safest possible path. They talked through everything like a group of workers, fixing a broken machine on a busy morning. No panic, no fear, no drama. Their ship weaved through the asteroid field, moving sideways, speeding up, slowing down, turning sharply, almost dancing around the danger. It wasn't graceful, but it worked. And when they finally reached the mining vessel, the aliens inside couldn't believe their eyes. They expected a massive military team or scientists with advanced suits. Instead, they saw regular humans carrying toolkits and wearing simple suits patched from previous repairs. The miners were scared and confused, asking, "Are you the elite rescue team?" The humans shook their heads. "No, we're just the crew." That happened to be nearby. That sentence alone became a story that would spread through the galaxy for years. The humans boarded the mining vessel and quickly assessed the situation. The engine core was overheating because a coolant line had ruptured. The power grid was unstable, and there were tiny cracks forming in the hull from all the pressure shifts. Most species would have stepped back in fear or immediately called for reinforcement. The humans rolled up their sleeves, literally, and said, "All right, let's fix this." They split up into small groups. One group went to cool the engine core manually. Another group started sealing the cracks with whatever they had available. The last group worked on stabilizing the failing systems. They worked fast, often using simple tools, sometimes improvising with spare parts found in the storage rooms. One miner asked, trembling, "How are you so calm?" A human pointed to the engine and said, "Because panicking won't fix this." Those words were simple, but they carried a message the miners never forgot. The humans fixed the coolant line using a method no alien engineer would have tried. It looked messy, but it worked perfectly. Then they stabilized the power grid using a combination of basic tools and clever adjustments. Finally, they sealed every crack in the hull, reinforced the weak points, and even repaired extra areas that were not part of the emergency. When they finished, the humans said lightly, "You should be good for a few more cycles, but maybe get this checked again once you're back at the station." The miners were speechless. They asked how much time had passed since the humans arrived. The humans looked at the clock and realized they had done all this in a fraction of the expected time. The miners thanked them repeatedly, but the humans just waved it off like it wasn't a big deal. To them, a problem was just a problem, something to work through until it stopped being a problem. The humans guided the damaged vessel safely out of the asteroid field, clearing paths, pushing aside small debris pieces with precise timing, and making jokes to keep the miners calm. When they finally reached open space, the miners were so relieved they almost cried. The Union station welcomed both ships back with wide eyes. When the miners told the full story, the entire hull fell quiet. The part that shocked them the most wasn't the danger or the repairs. It was the fact that the humans were not elite specialists, not trained emergency experts, not advanced engineers. They were just regular workers. Word spread across the Union faster than usual. Every species repeated the same line. Humans fixed a crisis that trained teams couldn't. Some species felt admiration. Some felt confusion. Some felt fear. But everyone felt something new: curiosity. A question started circulating. How could humans remain calm where others broke down? How could they adapt so quickly? Why didn't they hesitate? A quiet rumor began spreading that humans might be the most resilient species in the Union, even though they didn't act like it. And another rumor whispered something even more unsettling. If this is what their regular people can do, what do their special forces look like? By the end of that cycle, the galaxy realized something important. Humans didn't need advanced gear or special training to face danger. They carried something inside them, a mix of courage, experience, stubbornness, and heart that helped them survive and help others. The miners would later say, "We weren't saved by heroes. We were saved by ordinary humans." And that is what scares us the most, because the galaxy finally understood. Humans didn't call themselves special, but the universe had just begun to realize that maybe they were. Part 3 begins. After the rescue mission from the asteroid field had spread across every corner of the Galactic Union, stories traveled fast in space, even faster than ships sometimes. And this story, the one where regular humans saved an entire mining crew, became something like a myth almost overnight. Every station, every ship, every council room buzzed with the same question. How could ordinary humans do things that trained teams struggled with? At first, the Union thought maybe those humans were exceptional. Maybe they were secretly part of some highly trained program. Maybe they were people the humans picked carefully. But when the Union requested more information, the human representatives simply said those were everyday workers. Nothing special. That answer bothered the Union more than the incident itself. A group of alien observers decided they needed to understand humans better, not by reading reports or watching recordings, but by spending time with them during their daily routines. They began following human teams around quietly, watching how they behaved in different situations. And the more they observed, the more confused they became. They saw humans working long hours without complaining. They saw humans fix complicated machines using simple tools, sometimes even improvising with random items. They saw humans help strangers without expecting anything in return. And they noticed something else, something no report had ever explained. Clearly, humans changed their behavior depending on what was needed. If a problem required creative thinking, they became creative. If it required physical strength, they pushed themselves harder. If it required calm leadership, someone would naturally step forward. They weren't trained for these things. They just adapted, almost instinctively. One observer wrote in his notes, "Humans are unpredictable in the most useful way." Another wrote, "They do not fear mistakes. They treat every mistake as a direction instead of a failure." The observers started asking questions directly. They approached the humans while they worked and asked why they reacted so quickly in emergencies. A human shrugged and said, "On Earth, things go wrong all the time. You just fix it." They asked why humans seemed so comfortable around dangerous situations. Another human laughed a little and said, "We grew up with storms, earthquakes, wild weather, machines breaking down. You just learned to deal with it." The galaxy wasn't used to that kind of answer. Most advanced worlds were safe, stable, predictable. Their people grew up in carefully controlled environments. They had rules, methods, and protocols for everything. Earth was different, alive, changing, sometimes chaotic. Humans grew up learning to adjust with nature instead of controlling it. And that shaped them into something unique. One observer tried to explain this to his colleagues. He said, "They are not fearless. They are familiar with fear." Another corrected him, "No, they are familiar with challenge." But the truth was that humans didn't fully understand how unusual they were. They didn't know the galaxy found them impressive. They didn't see themselves as special. They joked about things that scared other species. They treated danger like a minor inconvenience, something you worked through step by step. The Union decided to do a formal study about humans. They created a research group, assigned members from different species, and asked them to gather detailed information about human behavior. The purpose was not to judge them, but to understand them. The more humans participated in missions, the more the Union realized they needed to know why humans acted the way they did. The research group followed humans during training sessions. They sat with them during meal breaks. They observed them in stressful situations and calm ones. They saw how humans talked through problems, how they comforted each other, how they joked to reduce tension. One day, the observers witnessed something that shocked them. More than any emergency incident, the humans were repairing a section of a space station when a small malfunction caused a sudden drop in temperature in one part of the room. For many species, this sudden change would have caused panic or at least hesitation. The humans felt the temperature drop, paused, looked at each other, and one simply said, "Okay, let's work faster." They kept going like nothing had happened. The observers wrote about it for days. They accept discomfort as normal. They adjust without thinking. Another time, a power fluctuation caused the lights to flicker. While several species looked around nervously, the humans continued their work, cracking jokes about old horror movies from Earth. The observers didn't understand the jokes, but they understood the meaning behind them. Humor turned fear into something small. Humans used humor like a tool, not to avoid stress, but to control it. This fascinated the galaxy. Observers also noticed something else. Humans were very protective of others, even strangers. When someone looked scared, humans noticed immediately. They offered water, explained the situation calmly, kept their voice steady. They created an atmosphere where others felt safe, even when the situation wasn't safe at all. A senior observer wrote, "Humans create stability through connection. They build trust instantly." But the biggest realization came when the observers started studying human history, not the dangerous parts, but the survival parts. They saw that humans had grown on a planet with uneven climates, unpredictable environments, and constant small challenges. Humans had evolved to handle change. This made them different from most species who grew up in stable, comfortable conditions. One researcher explained it this way: the galaxy developed in straight lines. Humans developed in storms. And everyone agreed that storms create a certain kind of strength. Meanwhile, the humans continued their work without thinking too much about the attention they were receiving. They explored new planets, fixed broken equipment, offered help whenever someone needed it. They got along with almost every species, even the ones known for being difficult. Humans had a strange ability to make friends quickly. They listened, they laughed, they shared food. They asked questions with genuine interest. An alien engineer once said, "Working with humans feels like working with a whole support system." Another said, "They don't care about status. They care about getting the job done." These simple qualities made humans easy to trust, something rare in the galaxy. But despite the growing admiration, one question continued to bother the Union. If the humans they had seen so far were average, what exactly did special forces mean for humans? Did humans even have such a thing? And if they did, what kind of people were those? The regular humans already seemed extraordinary compared to the rest of the galaxy. The thought slowly turned into a quiet fear for some species. Not fear of humans, but fear of the unknown. Humans had shown no interest in dominating anyone. They were friendly, cooperative, and curious. But the galaxy had never met a species where the regular ones could outperform trained professionals from other worlds. The senior council held a private meeting to discuss this very topic. Representatives from different species shared their concerns. One said, "If regular humans can repair a failing engine core under dangerous conditions, what can their specialized members do?" Another replied, "Maybe we should request a demonstration." Someone else quickly disagreed. "No, if we request something like that, it will look like we are challenging them." After hours of discussion, they decided not to ask. They decided it was better not to know, because once something is known, it cannot be undone. And the galaxy was not sure if it wanted the answer yet. Meanwhile, on the human side, things remained simple. Humans didn't think about their reputation. They didn't realize the galaxy was slowly building an image of them as a strong, reliable species. Humans continued being humans, fixing things, helping others, laughing at odd moments, and treating danger with a strange mix of respect and confidence. The observers concluded their report by saying, humans are not exceptional because of power or advanced technology. They are exceptional because of their spirit, their adaptability, and their refusal to give up. The report was shared across the Union, quietly but widely. And soon, everywhere humans went, they noticed strange looks, not of fear or distrust, but of deep curiosity and respect. Humans didn't know why. But the galaxy knew, because by this time, the universe had learned something important. Regular humans were already extraordinary. And the mystery of the special ones, the humans who trained specifically for danger, only grew larger with every story. The galaxy began to whisper, if this is what the regulars can do, then the special forces must be something beyond understanding. Part 3 ends with that whisper traveling through every star system, a soft reminder that humanity was far more complex than anyone had imagined. Part 4 begins at a time when humans had already become a familiar sight in many parts of the Galactic Union. They were everywhere now, fixing systems, helping with exploration, assisting during research missions, guiding new crews, and giving advice where others stayed silent. And the strange part was that humans never acted like they were doing something special. They behaved the same way they did back on Earth, casually, simply, and with their natural confidence. Over time, something interesting started happening. Captains of alien ships began requesting human crew members. Not soldiers, not specialists, just regular engineers or technicians. Some requested human medics. Some asked for human navigators. Some even wanted human assistants, just because they felt calmer with humans around. At first, the Union thought this was unusual. Why would a peaceful species need humans at their side? For simple missions? But when the Council investigated, they found the answer everywhere they looked. Humans made difficult tasks feel easier. They turned stressful situations into manageable ones. They kept morale high simply by being present. And they had a strange talent for solving problems in ways no one else expected. One ship captain said, a human on board is like carrying a tool you never knew you needed until everything goes wrong. Another captain added, they solve things with instinct. They don't wait for perfect conditions. This reputation grew quietly, mission by mission, until it reached sectors far away from where humans usually worked. One day, a scientific vessel heading to a distant star invited a small group of humans onto their crew. The vessel was supposed to study unusual energy patterns around a cluster of moons. It wasn't dangerous, just unpredictable. Most species preferred stable environments, so scientists from those worlds felt uneasy going into unknown areas. Humans didn't seem bothered at all. During the mission, a sudden energy fluctuation disrupted the vessel's equipment. Lights flickered, machines stalled, and several systems shut down all at once. The scientists panicked, trying to understand what was happening. But the humans got up calmly, walked to the main panels, and started working. One human said, relax, it's just a surge. We'll reset it. Another inspected the wiring and muttered, this reminds me of the time my building's whole power grid collapsed during a storm. The scientists stared at them as they quickly rewired parts of the panel, reset the systems, and stabilized the ship. When everything returned to normal, the humans didn't celebrate or brag. They just said, okay, now where were we? From that moment on, the scientists looked at humans with a kind of quiet awe. They had never seen a species learn things on the spot and handle pressure like humans did. Stories like this kept multiplying. A cargo ship reported that their human crew members fixed a broken loading system by using simple ropes and metal rods, something no alien engineer had ever thought to try. Another ship said humans repaired their cooling system using leftover parts meant for something completely different. One station said humans stayed up all night helping a species whose life support needed emergency adjustments. Every species noticed the same thing. Humans did not sit back when something went wrong. They moved, they acted, they adapted. One alien historian wrote in his personal journal, "Humans react to danger the way most species react to minor inconvenience." This idea traveled faster than any official report. The galaxy slowly began to understand that humans weren't strong because of advanced technology or special abilities. They were strong because they were used to dealing with chaos. They had been practicing survival since the beginning of their existence. But the part that surprised the galaxy the most wasn't their courage or their adaptability. It was their empathy. Humans showed kindness to species they barely knew. They helped without expecting anything. They comforted people who were scared or sad. They shared food with species who didn't even eat the same things. They cracked jokes in tense situations. They taught others how to deal with pressure. One species said, "Humans do not just repair our machines, they repair our confidence." It became normal for captains to ask the Union for at least one human to be part of their team. Some species even considered it good luck to have a human on board. Others said humans were like silent protectors, even though they never acted like heroes or demanded attention. Still, the galaxy had questions. They had heard rumors about a group called Special Forces back on Earth. They had never seen them, never met them, never even heard humans talk about them in detail. This bothered a lot of species. One day, during a peaceful summit, a representative from a cautious species finally asked the question everyone else was afraid to ask. He looked at the human delegation and said, "If your everyday people are so capable, what do your special forces look like?" The room went silent instantly. Everyone watched the humans, waiting for an answer. The humans exchanged glances, like they were trying to decide how to respond. They didn't look angry or defensive, just thoughtful. After a moment, one of them spoke with a calm voice. "You don't ever want a situation where they have to be deployed." There was no threat in the voice, no warning, no pride. It was simply a truth spoken softly, and that made it even more powerful. The galaxy took those words very seriously, because if regular, humans were already capable of staying calm during crises, repairing impossible systems, helping others under pressure, and surviving conditions that scared other species. And what kind of people were the ones trained specifically for danger? The silent idea of those unknown humans, those special forces, began to echo in every council chamber, every research station, every ship's command room. A species known for their logic calculated that if regular humans could handle unpredictable environments daily, then special forces must be built for extreme scenarios. Another species, known for their strict discipline, speculated that these humans must have mental strength beyond anything the galaxy understood. Others guessed they might be experts in stealth, or survival, or resilience, but no one really knew. Instead of calming the galaxy's curiosity, the humans' simple reply only made the mystery deeper. Meanwhile, the humans continued living their lives. They worked, they explored, they learned new skills, and they helped anyone who needed it. They didn't act like a species that inspired fear or respect. They didn't try to impress anyone. They simply did what felt natural to them. But the galaxy saw more than that. They saw a species that didn't break under pressure. A species that treated danger like a challenge, not a threat. a species that combined intelligence, adaptability, and kindness in a way no one had seen before. One alien leader said to his council, "If the regular humans already stand out this much, then perhaps their strength is not in what they do, but in who they are." Another leader whispered, "It is not their special forces we should fear. It is the idea that regular humans are already stronger than we ever expected." By now, the galaxy's respect for humans had grown into something deeper, something close to admiration. But hidden beneath that admiration was a quiet curiosity that no one could shake. Because every time humans fixed something impossible, every time they stayed calm during danger, every time they inspired others without trying, the galaxy remembered that mysterious group humans only mentioned rarely, the special forces. And the question remained, unanswered and heavy in the minds of every species. If these humans are only the regular ones, what are the special ones like? Part 4 ends with that thought spreading across star systems, like a quiet rumor that refuses to fade. Part 5 begins at a time when humans had already settled into their new roles across dozens of star systems. By now, other species no longer treated them as newcomers or temporary helpers. Humans had become part of everyday life in the Galactic Union. Their presence was expected, their skills were trusted, and their strange habits, like making jokes during dangerous moments or drinking hot coffee in the middle of stressful work, had become normal to everyone around them. But even with this acceptance, curiosity about humans never went away. In fact, the curiosity grew stronger each year. The more the galaxy saw what humans could do, the more questions appeared. A lot of species wondered how humans developed such instinctive problem-solving abilities. Some believed it came from Earth's unpredictable weather. Others thought it was because humans grew up facing challenges daily. Some species said humans were simply built differently mentally, emotionally, socially. But there was something else the galaxy couldn't stop thinking about. The mystery of the special forces. Whenever the topic came up, humans always answered the same way, calmly, respectfully, without adding extra details. Nobody bragged. Nobody explained. They just said those quiet words, "You don't ever want to be in a situation where they need to be deployed." Those words echoed across the galaxy for years. And because nobody understood what the special forces actually were, imagination filled the silence. The galaxy created theories. Some said, special forces trained on secret worlds with extreme climates. Others believed they had advanced technology hidden from the public. Some even thought the special forces lived differently, isolated, focused, dedicated only to missions involving real danger. But while these theories spread, something interesting was happening among regular humans. They were slowly changing the way the galaxy worked. For example, there was a research station far out near the edge of a quiet sector. It was run by a species known for being calm, gentle, and extremely intelligent. They were brilliant thinkers, but struggled when unexpected problems appeared. Humans were invited there to help operate the station's maintenance systems. One day, a strange signal began interfering with the station's power grid. Lights flickered, machines stalled, communication panels froze. Everyone panicked except the humans. One of them simply said, "Well, this is annoying," and walked straight to the main junction box with a toolkit. Another started checking the emergency backup system. A third human calmly reassured the frightened staff, saying, "We'll sort it out. Just breathe and give us a few minutes." The situation looked scary to the scientists. But to the humans, it felt like a normal day of troubleshooting. In less than half an hour, they traced the problem to a faulty node and repaired it. After everything stabilized, the scientists asked how they stayed calm. One human shrugged and said, "This is nothing. Back home, you can lose power during storms all the time." The scientists were shocked. Losing power was a terrifying event to them. But humans were used to handling problems without panicking. It was simply their way of living. Stories. Light. This spread everywhere. A mining station said humans saved them from a dangerous pressure shift by reacting faster than any automated system. A cargo crew told others that humans spotted a structural threat before sensors did. One farming colony told a story about humans predicting weather changes using nothing but smell and gut feeling. It didn't matter what part of the galaxy you visit. Wherever humans worked, there were stories about them solving problems in unusual ways. And because of these stories, several species started treating humans like reliable anchors during uncertain times. But not everything was perfect. There were moments when humans struggled. 2. They missed Earth's familiar things: blue skies, warm sunlight, quiet nights. Some missed the sound of rain. Others missed their families. Some even missed simple Earth food. The galaxy noticed these moments as well. And instead of treating humans like machines, they began showing kindness in return. A species that loved music created soft melodies, inspired by Earth's waves, to comfort homesick humans. Another species offered humans special living quarters that simulated Earth-like environments. Some even started making food almost like Earth dishes, though the results were sometimes funny. For example, one alien chef proudly served a dish inspired by Earth pancakes. They were bright blue, slightly glowing, and tasted like sweet vegetables. Humans appreciated the effort, but quietly whispered to each other, "We'll just smile and eat it." These interactions brought humans and aliens closer. The galaxy no longer saw humans as strange or unpredictable. They saw them as friends. But behind all these ordinary moments, curiosity about the special forces continued to rise, especially as humans kept surprising the galaxy with their abilities. One event made the curiosity grow even stronger. It happened on a large training station where young recruits from many species learned how to handle emergency situations. The training programs were usually predictable, but things changed when a few human trainers joined the staff. During one session, a simulated environment malfunctioned and became more intense than expected. The temperature rose sharply. Obstacles increased. Pressure levels changed unpredictably. Many trainees panicked, thinking the simulation had turned dangerous, but the human trainers stepped in immediately. One carried 2 recruits out of a collapsing section without hesitation. Another manually shut down the faulty generator. A third stayed inside the malfunctioning zone to guide confused trainees safely out. When everything was over, the trainees looked at the humans like they had just witnessed something impossible. One trainee asked, "Why weren't you scared?" A human trainer replied, "We were scared. Being scared doesn't stop us. It just tells us the situation is real." That sentence became famous across the station. The trainees started whispering among themselves, if regular human trainers were this calm, what were the special forces like? How did they train? What challenges did they face? What kind of missions required their presence? The galaxy's imagination grew stronger. Then one day, something unexpected happened. A peaceful council meeting was interrupted by an emergency message from a distant sector. A large research vessel had gone missing after being hit by an unknown energy wave. The area was unstable, communication was weak, and rescue teams were hesitant to enter because the environment kept shifting unpredictably. The council needed volunteers. Before any species could offer help, several humans stepped forward. Their reasons were simple. One said, "There might be people trapped." Another said, "We don't leave anyone behind." Their determination was so natural that it surprised the council. They approved the mission immediately, and humans prepared for departure. As the humans boarded their ship, the council whispered among themselves. One council member said, "Are these regular humans?" Another replied, "Yes, they are volunteers." The first council member paused, thinking deeply. If regular humans go into danger without hesitation, what do the special ones do? That question lingered even after the rescue ship left. Meanwhile, the humans on board focused only on the mission. They didn't talk about being brave. They didn't act like heroes. They simply worked together, checking equipment, sharing tasks, and supporting each other. When they reached the unstable sector, the environment was unpredictable energy currents twisting around, clusters of debris floating randomly, signals fading and returning without warning. But humans didn't freeze. They coordinated calmly, entered the dangerous zone, and searched for survivors with determination. Hours passed, but they didn't give up. They found the missing vessel damaged but still intact. They evacuated the survivors, repaired the navigation system, and guided everyone safely out of the hazardous area. When the mission ended, the survivors thanked them with emotional voices, describing the humans as fearless. But the humans didn't see themselves that way. One simply replied, anyone would have done the same. But the galaxy knew that wasn't true. Not everyone would step into danger so calmly. Not everyone would push their limits for people they barely knew. After this event, curiosity about the special forces became almost a quiet obsession among many species. They wondered if those mysterious humans were even stronger than the regular ones who were already surprising them daily. Some species believed that special forces must be the kind of people who trained in harsh environments. Others thought they were sent on missions the galaxy didn't hear about. But no one had real answers. And humans never explained. They continued living their lives, helping others, and exploring new places. They laughed, worked, fixed things, and made friends everywhere they went. They remained humble, kind, and practical, but the galaxy's imagination kept growing. Every time humans solved a problem, every time they stayed calm during danger, every time they helped others without thinking twice, every species quietly wondered, if regular humans are like this, just how extraordinary are the ones they call special forces? And that unanswered. Questions slowly spread, like an invisible shadow through the galaxy, quiet but unforgettable. Part 6 begins. Years after humans first joined the Galactic Union. By now, almost every species had worked with humans in some way. Some met them on starships, others on stations, others on farming colonies or research outposts. Wherever humans went, they left stories behind stories that slowly shaped the galaxy's understanding of them. At first, aliens believed humans were simply unusual. Later, they decided humans were brave. Then they moved on to calling them impossible. But eventually, they settled on a single word that described them best: unpredictable. Not unpredictable in a dangerous way, but in a hopeful, positive way. Humans were full of strength they didn't announce, full of kindness they didn't advertise, full of abilities they didn't see as special. And the most surprising part was how humans treated all of this like it was ordinary. They didn't view themselves the way the galaxy viewed them. They saw themselves as normal people doing normal tasks. That humble attitude confused the galaxy more than anything else. Even after thousands of stories, thousands of moments, thousands of examples of human determination, the galaxy still whispered about the same mystery. If regular humans are like this, then what are the special forces? That question grew stronger every year. But the true answer didn't come through secret files or hidden missions. It came quietly, through real life, in ways nobody expected. It started in a peaceful region near a young star. A cultural gathering had been planned there, a massive event where dozens of species came together to share knowledge, art, music, and stories. Humans were invited too. Not soldiers or officials, just ordinary people who represented humanity's daily life. The gathering was calm, warm, and friendly. Children from different species played together. Musicians shared new sounds. Scientists explained new discoveries. Traders exchanged gifts. Humans brought simple things from Earth handmade crafts, small instruments, short stories, even some snacks that other species found strange but interesting. They participated with the same natural friendliness they showed everywhere. On the second day of the gathering, a rumor quietly spread across the event. A council representative from a distant world had prepared a question for the human delegation. A question that had been sitting inside the galaxy's mind for years. What do your special forces look like? Nobody knew how humans would react. Some species guessed humans would avoid the topic. Others thought they would finally reveal something shocking. A few believed humans might share training stories or ancient history, but the question did not come during a dramatic moment. It came during a peaceful, ordinary conversation in a meeting hall where leaders from different species sat around. Long table, enjoying warm drinks and sharing stories. The human group sat calmly among them, regular explorers, engineers, and cultural workers dressed in simple clothes. They talked casually, laughing softly at small jokes, the way humans often do. They didn't seem nervous at all. Finally, the council representative cleared their throat, signaling they wanted to speak. The room went quiet. A few aliens leaned forward, eager to hear the long-awaited question. The representative looked at the human delegation and spoke with gentle respect. "We have worked with your people for many years," they said. "We have learned from you, and we have admired your strength and adaptability. But there is something the Union wishes to understand. If your everyday workers are this capable, then what do your special forces look like?" The room fell completely silent. Even the background humming of machines seemed to stop. Many species watched the humans closely. Some held their breath. The humans looked at one another, exchanging soft smiles. They did not panic. They did not look surprised. They simply looked thoughtful, like they had been expecting this question for a long time. One of the humans finally responded. Their tone was calm, honest, and gentle, without any intention to scare anyone. "You will not meet them," the human said, "unless a situation becomes so bad that no other choice exists. And we hope that day never comes." The room stayed silent for a long moment. The words echoed in the minds of every species present. They were not spoken as a threat or a warning. There was no pride, no drama, no details. Just honest truth. And that honesty shook them more than any explanation would have. The galaxy realized something in that moment. Humans were not hiding their special forces out of secrecy or fear. They were hiding them out of responsibility. Humans did not want the galaxy to face a situation that required such extreme support. The silence broke when a soft, nervous voice whispered, "If your regulars do what they do every day, then the ones you keep hidden must be extraordinary." The humans didn't answer that sentence. They didn't need to. Their silence confirmed more than any explanation ever could. The gathering continued, but something changed in the atmosphere. The galaxy did not feel fear toward humans. Instead, they felt respect, a deep respect born from knowing that humans had a side the galaxy never wished to see. After the gathering, stories spread quickly across star systems. Aliens talked about how humans answered the question without revealing anything. Some admired the humility. Some admired the honesty. Some admired the quiet power behind those simple words. But the story didn't end there. A few months later, a large colony of mixed species faced a natural crisis. Their environment began to shift due to unexpected cosmic changes. Storms formed, temperatures dropped, and communication systems failed one by one. Panic grew among the residents. A group of regular humans lived on that colony. They stepped forward. Immediately, they comforted children, coordinated rescue teams, fixed broken tools, and guided people to safer zones. They refused to rest until everyone was accounted for. One alien resident, trembling with fear, asked a human, "How are you so calm?" The human replied, "Because we've faced storms all our lives. We're not stronger than you. We've just had more practice. Stay close, we'll get through this." Their steady voice helped others find courage. Their actions saved lives. And once again, the galaxy saw the quiet force of regular humans. When everything was finally safe again, the colony's residents gathered around the humans. One of them said, "If this is what regular humans do, then your special forces must be legends." The humans didn't say yes. They didn't say no. They simply gave humble smiles and continued helping with repairs. That was the final lesson. The galaxy learned humans didn't need their special forces to earn respect. They're regular people, ordinary workers, explorers, technicians, farmers, medics were already extraordinary in the eyes of the galaxy. The species of the Union began to understand humanity in a new way. They saw that humans were shaped by a world full of uncertainty, change, and challenge. They learned that human strength came from their hearts, not their training. They saw that humans didn't run from problems. They faced them with humor, creativity, and compassion. And something else became clear. Too, humans didn't keep their special forces hidden because the galaxy wouldn't understand. They kept them hidden because they hoped the galaxy would never need them. That simple truth carried more weight than any weapon or technology ever could doubt. As the years passed, the galaxy continued to grow alongside humanity. Humans became leaders, explorers, and trusted friends. They helped develop new systems, new ideas, and new ways of working together. Their presence made the galaxy feel more united, but no matter how much time passed, one question and one answer remained legendary. If regular humans already shocked the universe, then what were the true limits of the ones they called special forces? Nobody knew, and everyone hoped they would never have to find out.